Next up, at UFC 286, we have Chris Duncan, the second Duncan on this card. And DraftKings is funny because DraftKings is C. Duncan for both Chris Duncan and Christian Leroy Duncan.
How does that slip through the cracks like that?
Luckily it says
company?
The opponent's name as well.
I know,
in
but
the
still,
same line,
it's like, have some self-awareness. Holy shit.
No, I know. But anyway, we have Chris Duncan taking on Omar Morales. Chris Duncan, 9-1 overall. 4-1 in his last 5, making his UFC debut. He's taking on Omar Morales, 11-3 overall. 2-3 in his last 5, coming off 2 stoppage losses in a row. Chris Duncan, heavy-handed, tough-as-nails striker. He's never out of a fight. Even in the Contender Series, but not just the Contender Series, even his regional fights, you'll find it as well. He gets blasted. He looks like he's out. He somehow puts himself together, keeps coming forward, and then wins the fight. On the Contender Series, he got a knockout that way. Some of his regional fights, he's dropped, down and out, comes back, puts it together, wins a decision. Chris Duncan is a dog. We talk about have that dog in him. He's an absolute dog. That's your dog. That's a good dog. Taking on Omar Morales.
That's a good dog. You got a little bit too into character there. You a furry?
Omar Morales
not a no. That was not a no.
Solid kickboxer, really nice kick. Solid takedown defense at 63%. He's strong. He likes to come forward. He does that really well, and then he ends all of his combinations with that forward step. So before you know it, you're in these exchanges with him, and all of a sudden you're backed up against the cage. All of a sudden he's holding center, and you've made no actual progress. He doesn't wrestle often, but he has a 100% takedown accuracy. He's got 3 attempts, 3 takedowns, and he's coming off that loss to Uros Medic where he was knocked down twice and KO'd in the second. I like Chris Duncan here. He's shown us how dangerous he is. He's shown us how tough he is. And you could look at him getting dropped 2 different ways. You can be like, this guy gets dropped like all the time. That's a problem. Or you can be like, he's tough as hell. Look at Gamrot. Granted, that's a wrestler, not a striker. Gamrot's dropped constantly, but it doesn't, other than the actual shock that he was dropped, he's not on ice skates. He's not almost finished. He just like dropped like a bag of dirt and then immediately starts fighting.
Colby does that same thing. Colby just drops to a knee and pops right back up. Literally. Yeah. He did it against Usman. He did it against Jorge. Just boom, boom. And he just smiles at him.
Chris Duncan's a little more affected than that, but he does compose himself, come back, doesn't stop. And it's a tale of 2 chins. I think Omar's chin is effectively gone. He's either chinny because he's getting dropped or he's got an iron chin because he can't get put out. I think Chris wins this fight. I think he'll take damage, inflict damage. I think he'll get the win. I think he'll get it done. I do have a half of a unit moneyline bet on him at -108. Little touch better value right now. But I like Chris to get it done, so I just threw a little bit of money on there. I actually expected that line to move, and it didn't. I should have looked at my own line movement tracker. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue too much on this side. I am on the Omar side. I think experience plays a big factor in this fight. I'm not going to harp on the fact that he does get dropped. And when he does get dropped, he defaults to the wrestling. Listen, Omar is coming off back-to-back losses, right? One of those at he did the 145 experiment. I have no idea how this guy made 145, but he made 145. He's back at 155. Chris Duncan is not going to have the relentless wrestling of Jonathan Pierce, right? So yes, we saw Jonathan Pierce kind of break down Omar and relentlessly wrestle him. It's not the same. It's not copy and paste. He got out wrestled here, so he's going to get out wrestled in this fight. 2 different fighters. Jonathan Pierce is absolutely relentless. Chris Duncan does have wrestling, but isn't that relentless? So I don't see him getting dominated in the grappling in that way. And I don't think that Chris Duncan is nearly as fast or as dynamic as a striker as Uros Medic. So when I look at that matchup, yes, he was getting outstruck. Yes, but he had some moments in there. He looked decent against the hands of Uros, and I just don't think Chris Duncan has the same speed. So coming in, I think Chris Duncan is a little bit slower than Uros, can't wrestle as good as Jonathan Pierce, and I think if you take those away from those fighters, Omar does a lot better in those fights. So it is a close fight. I'm not going to argue either side, crazily. Omar is my pick of this matchup. I think that he's just a little bit more technical, has the experience. Chris isn't going to have the speed of Uros, the wrestling of Jonathan, and Omar's going to be able to get it done. I think he touches up Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan defaults to the wrestling and really finds himself in some issues because Omar really is no joke on the ground. It's really kind of what he's known for, even though he does throw kind of wild. Sure. So Omar's a play.
No, listen, I threw that half a unit money on him. I like that at even money. I like that dog. I like that Omar's chin seems to be fading or effectively gone. Omar,
that could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse that last fight. That was it went down as a TKO or a KO, but it was like the ref he was still kind of with it. He was about to pull guard and stuff right when he was about to get like put out. So he wasn't like exactly like put out.
No, and DraftKings picked the side. They said Omar's a very, very slight favorite here. It's a 50-50 fight, essentially. I think Chris wins, so I'll take that 50-50 money. I only threw a half a unit on that.
It's gone.
If you want to become a premium member, sign up now. Unlock all of Jacob's bets. You don't like mine, I give mine away.
Do you want to bet on this fight? We don't have a fight to bet on.
I have a... No, not yet. We'll
here we go. Something. That's literally what I texted you earlier today. Oh, I already have a bet with the books. Can't bet.
Well, I don't... It's not even that I have a bet with the books. I'm just not... I threw a half a unit on it. If I was super
you never really make money line bets, so you must be pretty confident in it.
I always make money line bets because my bets are out a week before.
I know, but you usually have like 3 a card. So this is one of your 3, so it must be pretty sure thing here.
Guys, sign up to become a premium member now. It is only $10 a month. You're going to unlock all of our bets, including Jacob's. You're going to get the safety parlay, which is up more than 5 units in this year, in 2023. If you get the last 13 events, it's up 18 units. Last week, JJ screwed the third leg, but the base hit. It has been successful overall. WeOwnPicks.com, only $10 a month. And speaking of premium members, we have had... a bunch of people sign up in the last 20 minutes. Mark.
If you just signed up, say it in the chat. Woo! If you just signed up, say it in the chat.
Mark S. Sethis S. I'm not doing last names anymore. You guys gave me a hard time.
Yeah, Jesus.
Tom S. Another Tom T. And Brian L. Thank you all very much for signing up to become premium members. Enjoy. It is the best $10 value in the game.
If you're not a premium member, you're a bitch.